Hello everyone. I was supposed to do this video yesterday, but something came up and I got very busy. I find it disturbing when people are disrespectful towards the elderly or people who are struggling with either poverty or addiction or homelessness. But the one thing that bugs me the most is when someone disrespects an elderly person or someone who is much older than they are. Elderly people to me are sacred in a way because their lives have been almost spent, but they hold great wisdom and have many stories to tell. They're like treasures because they all have different and interesting stories about their lives that they can share, and you can learn a lot from them, at least the ones that they can still remember. I remember when my grandmother shared her stories with me when I was young and how things were different back then. To me, these stories were valuable because it was like watching a movie being recreated in my mind as she was describing the stories. Some of her stories were funny. Some were about relationship, respect, honoring parents, and some were about creepy, scary things that happen in the campos, in the forest. Overall, I appreciate and cherish them because I honor her taking the time to share them with me. Another thing that I find difficult to tolerate is when someone mistreats a person who is struggling or who is homeless. I remember when I was young, and back then when I was a single mom walking towards the supermarket, in front of the entrance of the supermarket, there was a young couple with a baby in a carrier. They were begging for money for formula and diapers. My heart just gave in. And I asked them what they specifically needed and that I will buy it for them and come back and give them the items. They told me that what they needed was for their baby, like diapers, wipe, formula, cereal. And it made me think back when my children were small, how God always provided for me. And that moved me to help them. I brought them the largest box of diapers, formulas, wipes, cereals, and brought some groceries for them. I also gave them $50 for gas. And this couple was so grateful. They cried. They thanked me several times before trusting me in sharing their story. There were two young kids who were experiencing hardship. He had recently lost his job and became homeless. As a result, they were sleeping in their car. And on top of it, they had no familiar support in that city because they were from another state. So I gave them information where to get shelter, food, and sign up for employment supports. And again, they thanked me and told me that they will never forget me. It was the other way around because I have never been able to forget them. What I learned that day was that until you hear the person's story, you will never know the reasons of why they were in the situation that they happened to be in. I also felt moved to help them because I witnessed how people were mistreating them, how they were rejecting them by calling them out, by saying negative things, negative remarks, like get a job, it is not my problem, etc., as marginal, undeserving people. And that I find disgusting. In my lifetime, God has allowed me to help many individuals, even if it was giving them my last quarter for them to take a bus. If I had it in my pocket, it meant that God wanted me to give it to them. You see, God's favor always blesses me even if I gave my last bit of change. I do honestly believe that at times I help angels because the way they thank me, it felt like a reassurance that God was in the midst. And it's a totally different, thank you. You never know who you may be helping. I don't know who needs to hear this, but this message is for someone. God bless.